Hello again, future space explorer. This is the Aspiring Astronauts Conference, and you are at the live broadcast of the International Organization of Aspiring Astronauts. We will now have a waiting period until the presentations begin. And now our destination will be beyond the moon. Hello again, future space. Would you like to be teleported to the surface of Mars while you wait for the lectures? If so, type yes in the chat. Roger that, but first, don't forget to grab your popcorn, sit in the most comfortable spot in your house, and call your family to watch. Activating teleportation. Destination, Mars surface.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. 32 minutes past the hour. Liftoff on Apollo 11.
Hi, my name is Rebecca Blum, and I'm an aspiring aerospace physician and astronaut from Detroit, Michigan. I am 19 years old, and I'm currently a freshman studying biology at Brown University in Rhode Island. Thank you, International Organization of Aspiring Astronauts, for hosting me today and allowing me to share my story, and I'm so excited to hear about other aspiring astronaut journeys during this conference. Today, I'm going to tell you about my path as an aspiring astronaut, what sort of programs I've done, what projects I'm pursuing, which can hopefully give you ideas for your next steps. And then I'll also give some insights I've gathered over the years that some of you guys may find helpful. So like many of us here, I fell in love with the night sky pretty early on. My grandpa is an amateur astronomer, and he would take me stargazing when I was little. Ever since looking through a telescope for the first time, I knew that I wanted to be an astronaut. Now I know that I want to study space medicine, which is the science of how the human body changes in space due to microgravity and radiation, for example, and how to best mitigate those changes. It would be a dream come true to work as an aerospace physician for NASA and one day be an astronaut. The first training I ever did was at Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama. I've graduated from 2 programs at Space Camp, Advanced Space Academy and Aviation Challenge. The link to Space Camp's website is below if you want to learn more about it or the application process. Advanced Space Academy is a week-long program open to 15 to 18-year-olds where you learn a ton about space exploration. You complete astronaut training exercises like the 1/6 gravity chair to simulate walking on the moon, and you also go in the multi-axis trainer. You learn to scuba dive, and my personal favorite, you go on simulated missions. So how these missions work is everyone on your team is assigned a role, either in a mock mission control, rocket, or space station, and everyone is connected to each other through headsets. To complete the mission, you must fulfill your assigned tasks within allotted time, and then communicate to your team when you've completed those tasks. Just like during real space missions, there can be anomalies or surprise emergencies that pop up, and you must also work through those with your group. For example, my group, the year I did it, the flight director and mission control ended up having a heart attack, and my team had to work together to save the flight director, but also keep the mission on track. So there's a little taste of the things that you do in Space Camp. Now in Aviation Challenge, which I did a separate summer, campers learn more about the Air Force and wilderness survival. There's a lot of teamwork challenges, such as racing to build a water filtration system or a shelter outside. And there's simulations like how to evacuate during an emergency crash landing in the water. You get to go in a centrifuge and experience several Gs. And just like how Space Camp had those simulated missions, Aviation Challenge has something similar where you fly in a flight simulator. Overall, it's a great time. Both programs, you meet a ton of people passionate about space from around the US and around the world. And I'm still in contact with my Space Camp friends years later. And some of my best memories are from Space Camp. So if you ever have the opportunity to go, I would definitely take advantage of it. And if you are over 18, there's something called Adult Space Academy. So if you want to learn more about Space Camp's programs, again, the link is below. And at the end of my presentation, I'll put the link to Space Camp again. So in high school, I joined an organization called Project Possum to continue my training. For those who don't know, POSSUM stands for Polar Suborbital Science in the Upper Mesosphere. This means that POSSUM is training citizen scientists like you and me to go on suborbital missions to study noctilucent clouds in the mesosphere. These clouds, which are in the picture to the right here, give clues about climate change. I put the link to Possum's website down below too, so if you want to check that out, I recommend clicking it. And I completed Advanced Possum Space Academy in spring of 2019. Some of me and my Possum classmates are in the picture to the left. And during the week-long program at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Florida, I learned a ton about aronomy research and the atmosphere, remote sensing techniques, and space physiology. I got to practice donning and doffing a real pressurized spacesuit, and I completed hypoxia training in a hyperbaric chamber. And my favorite is I got to fly in an extra 300 plane and got to experience zero G. I guess I would describe the feeling as being underwater, but without the weight of the water around you. Like my arms floated up as if they were on a helium balloon. I also got to fly the plane and like flip it. So it was like a wild experience. Again, the link to Project Possum is below if you want to check it out. Besides Possum's aronomy research, there's more specialized programs such as their bioastronautics program working specifically with spacesuits, and there's a program specifically for educators. I did a program last spring called EVA 102 Operational Space Medicine. And in this program, I learned about wilderness space and emergency medicine and webinars. And then there's also an on-site portion where you practice various skills and triage scenarios in a remote environment to simulate Mars. Because of COVID, the on portion part of the program was postponed, but the online instruction portion, which I did get to complete, culminated in a project and paper about a novel space medicine technology or an improvement to some current space medicine procedure. So for my project, I looked at how one could administer biomedical injections in a pressurized spacesuit. In Apollo era spacesuits, there was an injection patch on the thigh, which you can see in the photo to the left. That's just a photo I took from my presentation. But later spacesuits removed the patch. So I looked at different ways an improved patch could be implemented. And I looked at other ways medication could be delivered, such as with dissolving transdermal microneedles. And I also proposed a device I made up called the internal injection device that can be put inside a spacesuit to deliver an injection. That's the photo to the right. So as you can see, there was a lot of creative freedom with the project. And if you have any interest in space or emergency medicine, I highly recommend looking into Possum EVA 102 Operational Space Medicine. Also, just like the Space Camp, the people are what make these programs great. I have met so many amazing scientists and professionals while at Possum. We call it like the Possum family, and everyone is so supportive of each other. So I would definitely look into getting involved if you have the opportunity. My most recent training has been in emergency medicine. Over the fall semester, I started working for my EMT certification. So EMT stands for Emergency Medical Technician, and they are the healthcare workers that work on ambulances. I was drawn to emergency medicine because it's one facet of space medicine, which is what I ultimately want to go into. And it was training that I could do with just a high school diploma. So I took the course at a local community college in the fall and completed around 90 field hours split between working in the ambulance and then working in the emergency room. And this was during COVID, so there was PPE shortages, the hospitals were overrun. It was a very interesting and eye-opening experience. If anyone works or worked during the front lines of this pandemic, thank you so much. Even though I just got a taste of it, I could tell that this is really, really tough work, so you guys are heroes. My training only included a few shifts, but it was one of the most meaningful things I've done in my life so far, and it really solidified my passion for medicine. So now, two main routes I could go with space medicine include seeing patients, but also research. So about 2 summers ago, I worked in a biology lab at the University of Michigan. The lab was studying how when these worms called C. elegans were put in certain environments, such as a hypoxic environment, there was like enzymes in the worm's bodies that was produced, and that increased the worm's lifespans and health spans. So the research had cool astrobiology applications because, space is a hypoxic environment. So in broader terms, the lab raised an interesting question about how some aspects of the space environment may actually be beneficial to organisms. So for a while, I was debating whether I would like to focus more on scientific research or seeing patients as I went into the field of space medicine. And after experiencing a bit of both, I'm definitely gravitating more towards working with patients. I think discovering what you don't like is just as important as figuring out what you do like. It was important for me to realize I got more fulfillment from working and seeing patients. So now I can pursue opportunities that I know will be the most fulfilling for me. So I would say if you don't know right now what your specific interests are, if you just keep exploring, you will soon find yourself, naturally gravitating to certain areas of study. And I would really reflect after you've done something and see if it gave you fulfillment, and then keep pursuing things like that. So much of being an astronaut is the journey, the journey right here and the right now. And if you aren't loving what you're studying, don't settle, keep exploring, because this is the part that's supposed to be exciting too. Like this journey is supposed to be some of the best parts of wanting to be an astronaut. So it's not just about going into space. So make sure you love what you're doing. And then another thing I want to emphasize is creating opportunities for yourself. The summer I did biology research. I originally had different summer plans. I applied to several summer programs, including a NASA internship, and I got rejected from all the programs I applied to. I mean, we're all going into a field that is extremely selective, where the process of who gets in and who doesn't, it's wholly out of our control. Whether, this be an internship, a certain school program, or even the astronaut application process itself. So like you might find a time when you don't have any opportunities in front of you. So that's when you want to create opportunities for yourself. With the biology research, it wasn't part of a program or anything. I just emailed a bunch of professors at nearby universities and colleges and said I was interested in research and if they would be able to accommodate a high school student for the summer. I never heard back from many of the professors, but all you need is just that one. And one professor said they never had a high school student work in their lab before and offered me an interview. I just ended up working there over the summer. So overall, one of the main lessons I have learned so far on my journey is take the opportunities presented to you. And when you find yourself with no opportunities, then make your own for yourself. Another philosophy of mine is to bring others along on this astronaut journey with you. I think one of the most meaningful and rewarding things you can do on your way to becoming an astronaut is bringing your community along on the ride. And that can look like a lot of different things. For me, starting small, I love to involve my family in my adventures. Every Thanksgiving, I host a space camp for my little cousins. We have created a spaceship under the stairs, a giant space telescope. We converted the office to mission control, and we have these mock missions just like we would at space camp. And at night before bed, I usually teach my cousins some space topics like nuclear fusion and the sun, or teach them about the planets, sort of paying forward what my grandpa did for me when we used to look through his telescope when I was little. On a wider scale, I like spreading space to my community. In high school, I started a space club called Beyond Earth, and we would hold community-wide stargazing events and planetarium show visits. A lot of people who weren't even in the club would still come to these events to learn more about space. And, it's also just bringing a love for space to the whole community. I actually put everything one would need to start the club at their own school on a flash drive. So if anyone is interested, I can mail you a flash drive. I've sent flash drives to over 5 states and internationally. Again, my email is below, so you can just email me if you're interested in starting a Beyond Earth club at your school, or if you're interested in a flash drive, just let me know. Other outreach I did in high school include helping my former science teacher run a space camp for kids at a nearby elementary school. So if you are an educator, this is a great way to bring space to your community. It was just an after-school enrichment program where we assigned kids to groups and they worked on space-themed experiments and practiced implementing the scientific method in their little research journals. And my science teacher created the curriculum. So if you are an educator and this is something that you would like to implement, just email me and I'll connect you with my former science teacher. I also was on a local news TV show called Astronomy for Everyone, where I talked about going to space, camp, and what starting the Beyond Earth Club was like. And then also before moving away to college, I like to just go to events thrown by the local astronomy club in Michigan. I've given several presentations there about Space Camp and Project Possum. And I also like to bring my telescope to stargazing events and just, showing the public planets and deep sky objects, stuff like that. And on more of like a national scale, in high school, I was part of a program called Back to Space. Back to Space's main mission was to bring space into popular culture again and preserve the legacy of the Apollo astronauts. We ran several social media accounts such as an Instagram, YouTube, Twitter account, and we visited schools to talk about our mission and just spread a love for space. And we've done projects like sending a high altitude balloon to space, and we've also launched rockets. So as you know, space is something that everyone can get involved in, whether someone's interested in STEM, public relations, business administration, art, all these positions are needed to make space exploration possible. So by encouraging your community to get involved with space, you're reaching all different types of people and fostering an environment to ensure humans can keep exploring the cosmos. So my message to you all is just keep working hard, make sure you enjoy what you're studying, make opportunities for yourself, and bring your community along with you on your journey. Thank you, International Organization of Aspiring Astronauts, for giving me the opportunity to speak today. If anyone has any questions at all, please don't hesitate to reach out and email me, even if it's just to connect and say hi. I love meeting all you incredible people as you follow your dreams. Take care. Thank you.
Yeah. Hello everyone. This is Janvi Dangeti, Vice President of Space Magica, and I'm an engineering student who is aspiring to become an astronaut and who seeks to be one of the first Indians to set foot on Mars. Well, today I'm here to share a few things about astronomy in India. In India, the astronomy is always conceived as astrology. I wonder why. Most of the people can't distinguish the difference between these two. Astronomy in India, as it was the other ancient civilizations, was interwoven with religion, while the different facts of nature, the shining of the sun, the waxing and waning of the moon, and the alternation of the seasons all excited uh, curiosity and evoked wonder. Religious practices and conformed to astronomical timings, following the seasons, equinox, solstices, and new and full moons, specific times of the day. And like in the Vedas, the earliest literature of the Hindus mention of provisions such as Ganaka, which is known as calculator, and Nakshatra Darsa, stargazer, and the mention of a branch of knowledge called Nakshatra Vidya, star signs, are illustrative of fascination that the celestial bodies exerted on the Vedic priest. Greek astronomical ideas began to enter India in the 4th century BCE, following the consequence of Alexander the Great. By the early centuries of Common Era, Indo-Greek influence of the astronomical tradition is visible, with texts such as Yavana Jataka and Romaka Siddhanta. There were not fixed text, but rather an oral tradition of knowledge, and their content is not extant. The text today known as Surya Siddhanta dates to the Gupta period of and was received by Aryabhatta. The classical era of Indian astronomy begins in the late Gupta era in 5th to 6th centuries. By the time of Aryabhatta, the motion of planets was treated by the elliptical rather than circular. Other topics included definitions in different units of time, exotic models of planetary motions, apical models of planetary motion, and planetary longitude corrections of various celestial astronomy and European astronomy and many other. The Indian Space Research Organization ISRO is a pioneer of space exploration agency of the government in India, headquarters at Bengaluru. ISRO was formed in 1969 with the vision of develop and harness space technology in national development. While pursuing planetary exploration and science research, ISRO replaced its procedure uh, in COSPER, uh, Indian National Committee of Space Research, established in 1962 by Indian Prime Minister Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru and the scientist Vikram Sarabhai. In 1962, considered among the founding fathers of Indian space program. ISRO, by successfully demonstrating its unique and cost-effective technologies, has gained place among the elite space agencies in the world over the year. The first Indian satellite, Aryabhatta, uh, was built by the ISRO, launched with the help of Soviet Union on April 1975. The year 1918 marked the launch of Rohini, which was the first satellite to be successfully placed in orbit by SLV-3, an Indian-made launch vehicle. Subsequently, with more efforts, two other rockets were developed by ISRO. The PSLV, Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, for placing satellites into polar orbits, and geostationary orbits known as GSLV. Both the rockets have successfully launched several Earth observations and communication satellites. In India, given its huge population, but still lack a proper infrastructure for space exploration and research, we have only a couple of observatory and limited research institution to aid the research. Even though we had a great deal of progress over the past few decades in the development of astronomy, we need to accelerate the rate of development in this specific domain. Currently, uh, we have few institutions which offer opportunities to educational and research paper aspects of astronomy. We have observatories located across many areas in our country, and our prime aerospace organization ISRO is processing extraterrestrial observation and research projects. Recently, our government has laid foundation for private space startups, which brought many opportunities in our domain. These startups are shown to deliver steady developments and opportunities to aspirants in the domain of engineering and innovations. And according to me, India needs to boost astronomy education at all levels of astronomy, acts as proxy of promoting specific temper. Besides addressing fundamental questions about human existence and place in the universe, its promotion could drive innovation as some of the most cutting edge technologies find their applications in astronomy. Professor Pandey said the need of promote astronomy education and public outreach is even more important when there is growing influence of astrology in the society. Professor Pandey, who is leading astronomer and vice chancellor of Raipur-based Pandit Ravishankar Shukla University, said while talking to Indian Science where after delivering the presidential address. One of the objectives of the society is striving to include astronomical courses in the school, college, and university curriculum. But astronomy education has been slow to pick up despite efforts being made. Organizations like Inter-University Center of Astronomy and Astrophysics, IUCAA, the IUCAA Node of Astronomy and Astrophysics Development, INAAD, provides technical knowledge, resource people, coordination, financial support, and some basic resources. Astronomy and astrophysics courses are taught at the postgraduate level, but they are too dense with too many topics covered. Given the way the discipline of astronomy and astrophysics with too many topics covered, given the way the discipline of astronomy and astrophysics have developed, Professor Pandey said that there was a need emphasis on laboratory courses that focus on analysis of data in addition to observational exercise using telescopes. Online courses on different subjects could be developed for those interested in participating in astronomy projects. For instance, engineer Engineers trained in data analysis, instrumentation, and image processing could be suitably be trained for astronomy projects. And there is going to be huge data powering from mega science projects in astronomy, and we need army of professional astronomers to handle it. He added, we need covery belt of astronomers who starts with smaller projects, then move to a bigger ones. For teaching and research at undergraduate level, the ASI president suggested use of small telescope whose capacity could be enhanced significantly uh, low cost telescope by using low cost telescope back end instrumentation like stellar uh, a photometer, CCD camera, and stellar spectrograph. With advanced sophistications of optics and electronics, it is possible for smaller telescopes to do what larger telescope could do in the past. There is not need to move smaller telescopes to museum. Professor Pandey said. Smaller telescope could be acquired for up to 15 lakhs, of which funding is available for agencies like Department of Space Science Technology (DST), the University Astronomy Grants Commission. The telescopes could be useful to sustaining interest in astronomy and possibilities of retaining student in the science stream. Besides training and events like night sky reading. Overall, the culture of astronomy teaching must grow in India, the ASI chief said. The 5-day annual meeting of society is being added by astronomers. Research students from all over country, there will be over 100 specific talks about this. And I dream that it can change more astronomers would work for the development of nation rather than the astrologers. And I'm glad to be here today. Thank you, Space Magica. Lift off.
Hi everyone, I'm Space Magica President Melissa. I'm from Turkey. Humans have always looked up into this night sky and dreamed about space. In the latter half of the 20th century, rockets were developed that were powerful enough to overcome the force of gravity to reach orbital velocities, paving the way for space explorations to become a reality. On October 4, 1957, the Soviets launched the first artificial satellite Sputnik 1 into space. 4 years later, on April 12, 1961, Russian Lieutenant Yuri Gagarin became the first human to orbit Earth in Vostok 1. His flight lasted 108 minutes, and Gagarin reached an altitude of 327 kilometers, about 202 miles. The first U.S. satellite, Explorer 1, went into orbit on January 31. 1958. In 1961, Alan Shepard became the first American to fly into space. On February 20, 1962, John Glenn's historic flight made him the first American to orbit Earth. Landing on the moon and returning him safely to Earth within a decade was a national goal set by President John F. Kennedy in 1961 on July 20. 1969, astronaut Neil Armstrong took one giant leap for mankind. As he stepped onto the moon, 6 Apollo missions were made to explore the moon between 1969 and 1972. During the 1960s, unnamed spacecraft photographed and probed the moon before astronauts ever landed. By the early 1970s, orbiting communications and navigation satellites were in everyday use, and the Mariner spacecraft was orbiting and mapping the surface of Mars. By the end of the decade, the Voyager spacecraft had sent back detailed images of Jupiter and Saturn, their rings, and their moons. Skylab, America's first space station, was a human spaceflight highlight of the 1970s, as was the Apollo-Soyuz test project, the world's first international crowded American and Russian space mission. In April 1981, the launch of the Space Shuttle Columbia ushered in a period of reliance on the reliable shuttle for most civilian and military space missions. 24 successful shuttle launches fulfilled manned scientific and military requirements until January 28, 1986, when just 73 seconds after liftoff, the Space Shuttle Challenger exploded. The crew of 7 was killed, including Krista McAuliffe, a teacher from New Hampshire, who should have been the first civilian in space. The Columbia disaster was the second shuttle tragedy. On February 1, 2003, the shuttle broke apart while re-entering the Earth's atmosphere, killing all 7 crew members. The disaster occurred over Texas, and only minutes before it was slated to land at Kennedy Space Center. An investigation determined the catastrophe was caused the piece from insulation that broke off the shuttle propellant tank and damaged the edge of shuttle's left wing. It was the second loss of a shuttle in 113 shuttle flights. After each of the disaster, space shuttle flight operations were suspended for more than 2 years. The International Space Station is a research laboratory in low Earth orbit, with many different partners contributing to its design and construction. This high-flying laboratory has become as a symbol of cooperation in the space exploration, with former competitors now working together. The station has been constantly occupied since the arrival of Expedition 1 in November of 2000. The station is serviced by a variety of visiting spacecraft: the Russian Soyuz and Progress, the American Dragon and Cygnus, the Japanese Transfer Vehicle, and formerly the Space Shuttle and the European Automated Transfer Vehicle. It has been visited by astronauts, cosmonauts, and space tourists from 70 different nations. Space launch systems have been designed to reduce costs and improve dependability, safety, and reliability. Most US military and scientific satellites are launched into orbit by a family of expandable launch vehicles designed for a variety of missions. Other nations have their own launch systems, and there is strong competition in the commercial launch market to develop the next generation of launch systems. Modern space exploration is researching areas one only dreamed about. Mars is focal point of modern space exploration, and manned Mars exploration is a long-term goal of the United States. NASA is on a journey to Mars with a goal of sending humans to the red planet in 2030s. NASA and its partners have sent orbiters, landers, and rovers, increasing our knowledge about the planet. The Curiosity rover has gathered radiation data to protect astronauts, and the Mars 2000 rover will study the availability of oxygen and other marine resources. And an event in present-day space history. And an event in present-day space history. 9 in February 2021, the Turkish Space Agency was founded. Slogan is also "Gökyüzüne bak, ayı gör." Thank you so much for listening. Lift off.
Okay. Hello guys. This is my first conference. I've never done any conferences before. This is my first one. My name is Shinwan Park, Astro Shin, so it's my first name, Shin. So nice to meet you everybody. I'm here to introduce myself and talk about myself and what the future space exploration could be like for us people, for young people. And I think there are many possibilities, and I'll be introducing some of them. And yeah, okay, let's move on. Okay, so my name is my name is Astral Shin, as I said. Shinwon, is my Korean name, Park Shinwon, but it's too long, so I can't just put all of it in, so I just cut in half and put the word Shin. So, yeah, as I said, this is my Korean name, Park Shinwon, and Lloyd is my English name. So, Shinwon Lloyd Park is my full name. I think Lloyd is more of like my middle name now, but I have different versions. I have English and Korean names, but yeah, that's my overall name. Some people call me Shin, some people call me Lloyd, some people call me Shinwon. Yeah. Okay, so where I'm from. Okay, I am from Korea, South Korea, and I'm also from Russia. I'm half half because my mom is Russian and my dad is Korean, and yeah, that's what it is. And currently, I'm not living in South Korea. I'm living in UK. I'm doing my studies here currently. I started studying here last year, October, so that's when I came here first. I never went to a Korean school. That's the thing. So I only went to international school. That's where I learned English and other languages also. Environment. Okay, this is just about where I studied and where I did all my studies. In Korea, as I said, I only been to a Korean school for about 3 months when I was really young. but my parents decided it's better for me to go to international school to learn English because I really wanted to learn English. I think English was my first language more than Korean, even though I lived in Korea. It's because I was more interested in that language rather than learning Korean. So I think English was my first language, and then Korean and Russian came after. So these are the languages I know. Spanish, the reason why I do know some Spanish because I did study Spanish for 3 years in middle school, but I forgot most of them, but I still can speak a few sentences and have simple conversations. So international schools, in Korea, South Korea, I went to U.S. international school. It was 8.5 years. That's really a long time. Currently, I'm in UK. I go to MPW college. I'm almost finished with my GCSE studies, and I'm going to do foundation and then universities and degrees. But to be honest, I'm not really sure if I want to do my university here. I was planning to do university in US, but for now, I'm not really sure about that. Things could change, but yeah. My goal. This is what I'm planning. So first, I want to have a degree on aerospace engineer, and I want to have that degree like a study and move on to it by going to Air Force. I really wanted to go to the Air Force when I was a kid. I always wanted to fly on airplanes, and those are my favorite things. And paramedic, I just want to have some kind of knowledge on fast first aid medical, so that it can really help me on missions sometimes if I do become one of the mission astronauts in NASA. But it's just there are some boundaries. I mean, there aren't if you want to be be positive, but sometimes there are real boundaries that you have to go through. Okay, so NASA astronaut, as I said, but the thing is, in order to become an astronaut in NASA, there are some requirements, and one of the requirements is that you have to be an American citizen, which I'm not. My citizen is South Korea. So that's the problem I have. Maybe I will live there for a long time. Maybe they will allow me to have a um, citizenship, but that will take some time too. So that's why I'm not sure about the exact path I need to be taking because there's so many requirements I have to take, and it's just sometimes it won't work out the way you want it to. So, I will go through this, but yeah. Okay, where it started. It all started when I was 4. Is when I watched this series called Wallace and Gromit. It was I think it was a UK kids show. It was about this man and a dog living, and it's really fun. It's really interesting. It was my first time when I knew about the concept of space. Not exactly how you wanted to, but that was the first time I knew something about space. So how people go to space on rocket ships. There are different planets. That's the first time I ever knew about that. So the one I really liked about that is the one series called A Grand Day Out. It's about this man. As you can see, they're in Moon. They're eating something. They're drinking tea, and the dog is. I mean, the dog is basically a human. He thinks like a human. He acts like a human. He does things like a human, but he's a dog still. Is one of the things you should watch. So next is 7. When I read this book about the kids astronaut, I mean I did start reading when I was 5. I did read a lot of books. I do like books. I read hundreds of, maybe in the thousands, I'm not sure, but books when I was young until now. And this book, I think I couldn't find the right book, but this was the book I read. The background is the same, but I don't think that's the title. But it was about this how to become an astronaut, and it was just a really interesting book because the things and it was so interesting how people actually go to space for exploration, and I just never thought that was like a real thing, as I said. Yeah, so I do still have the book currently, and I am keeping it as because I think it's one of the things that really allowed me to think about what I want to do later on, and that was the book that allowed me to think that I should actually become an astronaut, maybe. When I was 12, I decided to tell my friends or family that I really wanted to be an astronaut, an engineer. So, I mean, as a younger age, I did really want to become a person that like an engineering part, but I never thought I would become I would really want to become an astronaut. Later on, I did want to become an engineer part, the around the mechanical engineering degrees, but yeah, 16, I'm 17 right now, but 16 is really trying to put my goals towards the things I really want to do. So as I said, I'm planning to do degrees on engineering, aerospace engineering, and maybe even paramedic, medical first aid. And I'm just trying to reach my dream as I start to develop my degrees and university and schoolwork. So okay. So interest. I really like sci-fi movies, books, everything about sci-fi and even but yeah, science fiction and fiction. Floor hockey, that's my sport. I really do like hockey. Currently, I can't play because Corona and everything's not working well, so there's nothing we can do. Books, I do read a lot of books. I read a lot, and some books I read are mythologies, old books about legends, or maybe books about space. I do have a lot of space. I do read a lot of teen romance too, but fantasy I do read a lot. Hunger Games a lot. So yeah. Crafting and fixing. I do like uh, crafting and fixing. The reason why is because I really did like my dad taught me how to use tools when I was young. He used to take me to his workshop every single day, almost every week, to teach me how to do things and fix objects and just everything. He used to build shelves and other objects in his workshop. So when I was young, when I was like 8, I knew how to use the correct tools to work out. So that's why I really want to do things like engineering. So I mean, I like to build things alone. I like to fix things also. So, I also like to make patches alone. So, yeah, I like to listen to music a lot. I listen to too much music, to be honest. I do have listened to almost like 9/10 out of time a day time I'll be listening to music. So yeah, some music I like is Ed Sheeran and Anne Marie are some of the favorite artists. So yeah, sci-fi, as I said, I like TV shows a lot too. I do watch a lot of sci-fi TV shows. For example, like one of my favorites are Star Wars. I mean, it is sci-fi. The 100 it's about teenagers going to space. The Martian, one of my favorite movies because it just seems so realistic. Everything, the details they have, the information he says about the chemistry he does, everything is accurate. Is really accurate, and I do like the way they really put out the real. Yeah, it looks so real. So I watched that over like 20 times already. Books, just to show chess. I do play a lot of chess too. I mean, I started again after watching The Queen's Gambit. I really did like that show. I think it's one of the best films you could ever watch for relating to chess. And as I said, mythology. I really do like reading old legendary tales, the old times, mystery. I do like those kind of books. So yeah, let's move on. Okay, not in the list. Okay, this is a slide I want to talk about more why I chose this title. Become an astronaut is not one of the lists you could write here in Korea. So in Korea, when you go to high school, they give you a paper that says, I mean, I never saw the paper, but I heard my friends talking about it. They said that they give you a paper and then they tell you to write what you want to do later on, what degrees you want to go, what school you want to go into, what you want to do later, what job you want to have. And it's just there's like a whole list that talks about that shows all the jobs you can like usually take. It's like a guide tour, your degree guide and something like that. And space, aerospace engineering, and astronaut is. He said that I asked him if it was in the list, and he said it wasn't. The reason why is because as a person who lives in Korea, you just can't have those kind of jobs because it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different path you have to take. It's a different country, as I said. You can't work in NASA if you're not an American citizen. So it's just that it doesn't work out. Korea does have a space agency. However, currently they're not really doing anything. To be honest, I don't think Korea is really interested in participating in astronaut programs. So I'm not really sure if they're going to restart astronaut programs as they did a few years ago. But yeah, usually the things that they value like astronauts or like doctors. I mean, those are some of the things that people all want to become, because it's a great job. You get well paid. I mean, maybe, yeah. But yeah, it's just I think I just thought that even if it sounds impossible, there are some things that you could do to become an astronaut, and I believe in the future there's going to be more paths in order to become an astronaut, and I'm pretty sure the technology is going to be better. All the spaceships, and as I said, Elon Musk and NASA SpaceX are doing great things currently, and I'm pretty sure in a few years people are going to really more interested in space exploration. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a huge thing later on. So that's why it's not in the list. However, just because it's not in the list doesn't mean you can't choose it. You just have to make another option on the bottom. Put another option, put a dot, and then write your dream and dream on, because nothing is impossible. How smart? Okay, first of all, I am not smart. I'm definitely not smart. I'm not a high IQ 180, 190 person. I'm more of an average person, to be honest. I never was one of the A plus students in class. I was never the A plus in class. I was more of like a B or a C student. I was more of like a middle, just doing okay, just doing all the work I should and doing okay in tests. But I was never the A plus student in class. I never thought grades were that important. I just thought the most important thing is to look for what you really want to do later on, what jobs you want to take, as I said. And I did find what I want to do. I want to become an aerospace engineer degree, and I want to be an astronaut mission pilot. And I believe that there's nothing impossible in this world, that the only thing that can block you is yourself if you decide to give up, which you shouldn't. So yeah, I'm here trying to do my studies and develop my dream as I go on. Okay, current goal is to finish high school in UK, so that means I want to finish my foundation, and I also want to attend some space programs in US. To be honest, going to US is not that easy. I don't live in US, I live in UK. As I said, I moved here last year, and moving to another country after moving to another country from South Korea is really hard, to be honest. Yeah, so I'll have to look on, I mean, scholarships. I didn't get the scholarship, but however, I think I can attend this year if I do try hard enough. YouTube channel. I really wanted to do YouTube channel since I was 7, but I never did it because I just never thought of a thing I should be doing, like what I'm going to make content. I was just stuck. But now I'm really deciding to go back in and try to think of something to do for my YouTube channel. So yeah, these are my goals currently. Currently, this year, this is what I want to achieve. Things, finish high school. Yeah, as I said, foundation levels, I want to finish it. So my current goals, so that's how I'm developing currently. So my role models, my most favorite person in the world, Elon Musk, as I said, one of the most biggest dreamers in this space. He's dreaming to go to Mars. His goal is to allow anyone, that's what he said, is to allow anyone to go to space, no matter who, anyone to allow going to space for anyone around people. That's his goal. So I do like the way he thinks about space and how he's really enthusiastic about it. So I really do like him. Next is Johnny Kim. He is astronaut in NASA, and he's my role model because he's also a Korean. His parents are Korean, and her parents moved to America, and then they raised him there, which he later become a Navy SEAL, and then he became a doctor, and then he became an astronaut, which seems crazy because one of those things, it's even harder if you want to even do one of those things. So I just think so as a Korean, South Korean, as I just think he somehow broke the possibility of, even though if you're raised in a South Korean parents or in the country, I mean, he did move, but he was born there in US, but however, it's just getting raised in the same environment just allows me to think that there are possibilities, that it's not impossible to actually become an astronaut, even if you're born in a different country and have a whole different environment. So yeah, he somehow broke the box. He somehow broke the limit. So that's why he's my role model. Next is Neil Tyson deGrasse. deGrasse. He's one of my favorite scientists, physicists, astrophysicists. His talks are really great. The way he allows people to think, young people to think that the most important thing is to dream on and try your best to achieve your dreams because nothing is impossible. And I like how he talks about space and every single facts about it. I do watch a lot of talks online, and I think because talks are just people's life stories, and sometimes they can be really helpful if you're trying to find what you really want to do, or if you're willing to take that chance later on in life. So yeah, so these are my three of my favorite people in the whole world: Elon Musk, John Kim, Neil Tyson, deGrasse. So yeah, future space. As I said, future space is going to be a whole different place. Maybe in 5 years, it's going to be a whole different place as you imagined. Because think about it. What did Elon Musk and his SpaceX company did in just 5 years? They sent, I don't know how many rockets, but I'm pretty sure they sent more advanced rockets than NASA did in the past 40 years. And I'm pretty sure in 5 years he could do a lot of great things just because the stuff he did in just 5 years is incredible. The advanced technology he developed with rockets, they're much better, they're more efficient, they're faster, they can carry more things, as I said. So I believe in the future there's going to be more advanced technology that allows people to travel space easier and faster. And yeah, so that's why I think there's hope. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. As I said, the most important thing is not money or success. It's more about what you really want to do and if you did achieve your dreams further on. And the most important thing is to find what you really want to do, no matter what others say. Just move on, keep moving, and try to achieve your dreams because nothing is fucking impossible. Thank you. This was my slide. I just wanted to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk in this conference. Thank you for listening. If you guys are watching, this is a recorded video. It's not live, so you guys will be watching it with a recorded video. Recorded. Thank you for watching. Most important thing, hold on. There's nothing that's impossible. I mean, I'm pretty sure later on things are going to be different. You never know what's going to happen in the future. And the only thing is to do is to move on and achieve your dreams. Try to stay positive. Nothing is impossible. As I said, think outside the limitless. Space is limitless. You gotta think limitless. You gotta start dreaming over the box. Just because it's not in the list doesn't mean you can't choose that. You just have to make another option. And then when you do achieve that dream, others will see you and say, oh yeah, it is possible because you made an option in the list. And yeah, try your best, achieve your dreams, and thank you. Adios.